What is up, guys? It is Harley here, back with another video on the FPL Harley channel. It is episode 22 on the FPL Harley channel. Now today is going to be episode 5 of rating your teams. This is going to be rating your teams for the quarterfinals of the Euros. Now, we're just going to get straight into this, but I do want to say actually thank you for 600 subscribers. I really do appreciate it so much. 600, it's like, because it's all happened so quickly as well, and the viewership, the support, all of the stuff that has happened for the past 3 weeks or so, or just over 3 weeks I've been doing this channel. I've been loving it. But I will be doing a deadline stream tomorrow, which will be like, what? I don't even know, like 4? I don't know, but I will be doing a deadline stream tomorrow for obviously the deadline of the quarterfinals. But we're going to get straight into this with Team 1, which is by Ahmed, underscore Ahmed LFC underscore on Twitter. He sent me his team on Twitter. So we're looking at the team on there. We've got the points on the left. I've switched it up really. Instead of just saying it on the spot, I've looked at the team already and gave some positives and some negatives. And yeah, and then I'll rate it out of 10. So the first point is that he's got 5 England players. I think England have the easiest draw out of everyone in the competition. I mean, Ukraine are a good side. They're a decent side. They've shown it against Sweden that they are a decent side. They showed it by getting to the group stages. No, by getting out of the group stages, getting to the round of 16 and then beating Sweden. It shows that they are a decent side. But I don't think they'll be able to do it against England. Stones and Shaw are probably 2 players that are stonewall. They're nailed on to start. Sterling, I think, is nailed on to start. Pickford's nailed on to start. Sorry, I had to recount there because I thought it was 4 English players, but it is actually 5 because I didn't count Pickford. But Pickford, Sterling, Stones, Shaw, Kane, they're all nailed on to start. You know, someone like Grealish or Saka or Foden, they're not nailed on start, but the 5 that you have in the team are nailed on start. The only one that's maybe not 100% nailed on is Luke Shaw, but I think after that game against Germany, he's proved that he's proved that he needs to be the left back starting for England. Chilwell won't start there because he's still recovering. Well, no, he's not actually recovering. Like he hasn't actually had an injury, but he's been self-isolating, so he hasn't actually been in training. So no training, he's not going to start a quarterfinal, let's face it. And Kieran Trippier, I don't think he'll start a left back. He'll probably start a right back and a 5 back again if we do actually go ahead and do the 5 back again. But if we stick with the 4 back that we had before, Luke Shaw will 100% start. 3 Spanish players against Switzerland I think is decent. But Switzerland, I think Switzerland are a team that are not to be fooled by. You know, they're a very good side. Switzerland are underrated. They're probably the most underrated team out of the 8 teams left. So, I mean, I think it's good that you've got 3 Spanish players because they are at the end of the day favourites to go through. And I like the Morata captain, but that'll be another point that I'll talk about in a minute. 3 Italian players is good, and 2 Belgian players is good. Which leads into the next point. It's an evenly distributed team. No, 5 English players. He's got 1 Danish. He's got 3 Italian, 2 Belgian, 1 Swiss, 3 Spanish. You know, there's a lot of teams. There's a variety of teams in there. So it's evenly distributed. The first point that I would say is a negative is the fact that Shaqiri is probably likely to lose against Spain. I did just say they are an underrated side, but Spain are by far the bookies' favourites to win that game. The next point is that Lukaku might be a better captain over Morata for the first day, but I'm not too sure about that one. And Mailer, the only point with that, which I guess you could obviously remove him if it happens for the semi-finals, but Mailer might end up playing against England in the semi-finals if it comes to that. You know, if England win and Denmark win, it means they will play against each other. But I guess you could just take him out for the semi-final. But yeah, also another positive, I think unless you used a wild card, you had a full team which aren't out and a full team which are playing, which is good. But this is a very strong side compared to most other people. I'm going to give this one going to give it a 9 out of 10 for the first one. Moving on to the second team, there are 6 teams in the video, but this is the second one. It's by uefa on Twitter. He's a moderator. I mean, if you've been on the channel for a while, you know who Uwais is. But the first one is that he has 4 English players. I rate it. I think you've got to have at least 3 English players. I've only got 3 in my team because I've taken, well, yeah, my team's pretty much in the mud, and 3 English players. That's by doing 2 transfers, and I already used my wild card. So unless I want to take a -4 hit, I'll only have 3 English players. But 4 English players, you've done very well to manage that. 4 Italian players, it's just, you know, it's very good. Immobile captain as well, I think is quite a strong one. You could argue Morata captain for the first day. Maybe even, no, I wouldn't say Berardi. Damsgaard plays on the second day as well, so it's between Immobile or Morata, but I think Immobile is probably the better captain. 2 Danish players is a good one as well. Damsgaard is a pretty strong player. And then the same point that I had with the last team, they could play England next if it comes to that. Another good point is that Sterling is nailed on, but that leads into 2 of my negative points. Berardi isn't actually nailed on for Italy, with Chiesa shining, and we won't actually know that. Usually we know that Italy line up before the deadline, but they're the 8 PM kickoff, and the 5 PM is Spain versus Switzerland, so we won't actually have to be able to tell, so I'm not too sure about Berardi. And Grealish isn't nailed on either. I think Grealish should start a left wing for England because of his recent performances, but he didn't start the round of 16 games. Saka started, but Saka came off at like the 60-minute mark for Grealish, and then Grealish came on and got a counter assist, which is pretty much the assist before the assist, the pass to the assister. It was a very good pass, and then he got the assist for the second goal. Grealish played a very big role in England scoring the 2 goals and, well, conclusively winning the game. So I think Grealish will start, but he isn't nailed on. You know, I don't know much about that, but I'm going to give this team, based on the fact that you have 4 players that don't play as well. Obviously, that's not your fault. That isn't your fault, but that is the game. You know, there's 4 people that don't play. I have 4 players that don't play myself. So I'm going to give this team a 7.5 out of 10. It would be probably an 8.5 if you had a full bench. Like, I'd give my team probably a 7, to be honest, because I'm at a point now where, like, there's nothing I can do really. I went heavy on players from Netherlands and France, etc., and they went out. So, and I don't have my wildcard left, so my team's in the mud. So hopefully I can help you guys out more than I can help myself. But I give this team a 7.5 out of 10. The next team is by MUFC Swaney or Swanee. Don't know how to say that name, I apologise. But starting off, 5 English players, it's very good. However, the risk with taking 5 players from the same team, if England, you know, we had an upset with France versus Switzerland, we had an upset with Czech Republic versus Netherlands. Everyone went heavy on France and Netherlands players, and they went out. And I mean, who would have thought Switzerland were to beat them and score 3 goals as well? You never know. England could lose. I don't want to say it because I'm English myself, obviously, but 5 English players, they have the easiest draw, so it's the most likely option to do. 3 Italian players I like, but Belgium I think may be favourites to win, but the fact that you have 2 Belgian players as well sort of evens out. Pessina I think is a very good differential. Whether he starts though is very 50-50 with Chiesa playing well. Bonucci as well, you could have someone like Spinazzola in there over him, but that's obviously your choice and I respect it. Now on to the negatives. Sommer and Schick are good. They're both good players to have in, but they're very 50-50 on whether they're going to get points. Sommer, the only points you're going to get for Sommer is obviously clean sheets, loads of saves, which is only like 1 or 2 points, and a penalty save. Penalty save, that's completely random. You can have that with any goalkeeper in the game. Saves, I wouldn't take a goalkeeper just for the saves. You take a goalkeeper for the clean sheet, and they're playing against Spain, who are a very high scoring side. I swear Spain have scored 10 goals in their last 2 games, so I'm not too sure about that one, but it's a decent option. Obviously Pickford could just, you can sub him on because he's likely to get a clean sheet, and there you go, that's sorted. But also Walker isn't nailed on if England go to a back four. If England go to a back four, I think Trippier may start right back. But Walker, I think Walker started all four. No, he started 3 of the 4 games for England. So I think Walker is nailed on. But there's a possibility that he isn't. And then the same goes for Grealish. But I will give your team probably... I like the Pessina differential. I like the captaincy choice. I like the differentials. But there are 2 players that are 50-50 on whether they get points, and then a couple of players that aren't nailed on. I'd give this team an 8.5 out of 10. Moving on to the 4th team by to be fair. 5 English players instantly. It's just a positive for me. It's not 5 English players. I don't know why. I've put that it's 3 English players, Pickford, Shaw and Sterling. They're all nailed on most likely, which is good. I don't know why the graphic... Okay, the graphic's wrong because in the negatives it says only 3 England players, and then in the positives it says 5 England players. So that's a mistake on my end, my bad. But only 3 England players. It's decent, but not the best. That is one of the negatives to improve on. You know what? I'll just start with the negatives. The other negative is Yarmolenko is likely to be out for the semis. He is likely to be out after this round. You know, he could get a goal or assist against England. But Pickford is sure in there. Pickford and Shaw in there are there for the clean sheets. I think Yarmolenko will be out. I can't see England not winning the game. But yeah, moving on to the positives now. Dolberg's good differential. I think he will start depending on if Poulsen is back from injury or not. You have a full bench. You have a full 15 players that are, well, ultimately still in. 4 Spain players is very good, but it's very 75-25. What I mean by that, it's probably 75% that they win or 25% that they lose, compared to someone like England. I'm probably 90% sure that they're going to win, and 10% for Ukraine. You know, you get what I mean. And Belgium and Italy are 50-50 as well. But with that, it's 75-25 because Switzerland, like I said, are an underrated team. I'll give this team though, I'll give it probably an 8. Alba is 1 yellow card away from a suspension, so I'm not sure if Alba, sorry, Jordi Alba, I'm not sure if he's nailed on. Schick isn't, I don't know. He could be going out. Denmark are the favourites to win that game. Mailer's a good option, but I'll give this team an 8. Moving on to the 5th team of the video, it's by Pogba United. Now, sorry for that notification. Lukaku is a good captain. I think for the first day you have, well, to choose from. It's either Lukaku captain, Morata captain, Insigne and Chiesa, which I wouldn't really do. I'd only go for Immobile from Italy. De Bruyne isn't nailed on whether he's back from injury or not. Meunier, I don't think they'll keep a clean sheet. So those are, well, it's Lukaku or Morata. I'd give it to Lukaku for the captain, so that's good. 3 Spanish players is good. Belgium, Italy players are fairly spread out. So he's obviously got 3 Belgian players and then 2 Italian players, so it's fairly spread out. I rate that. So you're guaranteed to have at least 2 players go through no matter the result. And then obviously 5 free transfers going into the the semi-finals, sorry. So you'll be able to just get rid of them for free. There's only 2 England players, which is something that, I mean, you probably need more considering they have the best fixture. Maybe bring in a Harry Kane if you have the... I mean, I'm guessing you don't have any free transfers left, but if you do, maybe a Harry Kane. You probably don't even have the budget either. I mean, maybe Jordan Pickford as well for Stekelenburg, but that's pretty much it. 50-50, I just said this for the captaincy, 50-50 whether De Bruyne is back or not, but we'll get a better insight on that tomorrow. You'll be able to see the Belgium, Italy... No, we won't actually see the lineup, sorry, that's my bad. 2 players don't play, Nego and Stekelenburg, but that's not your fault. And Chiesa isn't nailed on, but he's more likely to start than Berardi because of his recent performances. So for that, I'm going to give this team an 8 as well. Now on to the last team by Mohammed, my other moderator on the channel. You'll know him if you've been here for a while. 5 England players. I rate it highly. I rate the 5 England players highly because it's Pickford, Shaw, which are both nailed on. Kane's nailed on. Grealish is sort of 80-20. He's 80%. I'm 80% sure that he's going to play. Trippier will play if we stick with a 5 back. and is 50-50 with Walker. Well, no, I don't know actually. Reece James, I don't think Reece James will start. Definitely not, I don't think. I think it's 50-50 with Trippier and Walker if we go back to a back four. So that one's a 50-50 of whether he'll start or not. But it's a decent choice. Zuba is a good captain, is a differential captain, plays on the first day. You'll be able to know if he's in the lineup. He will be in the lineup because he's currently leading for most assists. Sarabia is the best Spanish option, although you do only have one Spanish player. But onto the negatives though, and there's quite a few. 4 Swiss players is very risky now. I know that Mohamed is from Switzerland himself, so obviously he's going to have bias towards Switzerland. But at the end of the day, the harsh truth, Spain are favourites to win the game. Switzerland could very well, they could go ahead and win the game. But Spain are probably 75% favourites to win the game, so it's very risky having 4 Swiss players in there. Something else that's very risky is not just having no Belgian players, but having a very unspread team. So you've only got 4 teams. Well, the players there in your team, there's only 4 teams in there. There's actually 5 now that I recount. There's 5 out of the 8 left. Spanish, Italian, Danish, English, and Swiss. You haven't got any Spanish players. Well, no, you've got 1 Spanish player. You haven't got any Belgian players. You haven't got any Ukraine, which I respect. You haven't got any Czech, which is understandable. But I think it's decent, but I don't like the 4 Swiss players. But obviously that's fully your choice, and you are Swiss yourself, so I can't really argue with that. But I would give this team. He's got full bench as well. I'll give it a 7.5 out of 10. Now, if you did enjoy the video, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, turn on post notifications. I do post at 10 PM or 10:15 PM every single day, depending on, well, the situation. Could even be 10:30 as well, depending on if the 8 PM kickoff goes to extra time, or maybe even penalties, because then it'll run over 10 PM. So then I'll reschedule it to 10:30. But yeah, make sure to subscribe, like, turn on post notifications, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye, guys.